And, you know, something like, I wouldn't mind seeing a falling sword either. Depending on the
Falling sword, light
composition.
bomb! Show
So
it to
good.
me!
Blue team thinking about their first ban. I'm expecting everything to be pretty standard, unless there's some sort of internal meta that's going on here in match number 8. But we've seen, you know, we've seen the Lucios, the Sonyas, the Hoggers, the Uthers, all generally taken out here in the early going.
Who is healing for blue? That is a good question, and I'm not really sure because we have a lot of DPS players in here and a lot of tank players. SQUIRREL and Ascension, who are both signed up as tank. And I believe the other three, we have ChampOfHorde signed up as solo, and the top two here, VaLCarriedU and AOERules as DPS. So probably Ascension, if I had to guess, because I'm pretty sure SQUIRREL is going to stay on that tank position, but who knows? At this point, just looking through it at the moment, and Zeratul is a bit of an interesting first ban to come out. Overall, I find that the first half of the draft tends to be pretty consistent at HOTS, but where it gets spicy is after that third ban. That's where you start to see things that, you know, the pocket picks come out, the secret tricks up your sleeve that start to counter the enemy team, or the secret synergies. Stuff that would have given too much away in the first half of the draft. That's where we start to see it come out right here. Actually, Chromie ban coming out. I don't think we've seen any Chromie first bans so far.
No, I don't. Maybe one. Maybe one today we saw a Chromie first ban. I think maybe on our first towers we might have seen that banned out. But notably, Lucio, Sonya, and Hogger all open right now. So does Red avoid any of those bans and pick up 2?
Crush, I'm going to need to be right back. I will be back before the start of the game. Please take over for a second.
Sure. Hogger going to be banned out here, this being one of Hogger's best maps in the pool. Can do all of the camps very quickly, can jump onto those points and go infinite. We're going to see the counter Sonya picked by ChampOfHorde, as is been the meta thus far this day. I'm interested to see whether it's going to be the Lucio once again here, coming out from Red. Taking a look over at the picks here. I mean, with Chromie taken off the board, we do have a Medivh open, so Reb is going to go ahead and pick that up. And it's going to be the Mei here for Finalstand. Now, Mei is sometimes taken as a Medivh counter to try to control those portals. So, I mean, Mei just a strong tank overall, and being able to remove that option from the other team into your Medivh can do some good work. Now, that does leave Lucio up for blue. We'll see whether that's going to be the choice here, or if they're going to try to take something maybe like a Malfurion to deal with this Mei and Medivh, and that's what it's going to be. Anub'arak and Malfurion coming in here for, looks like Ascension on the tank for now, and SQUIRREL on the healer. We'll see if there's going to be a switch there or not. We figured that one of those two would end up being in the healer role, just, you know, checking out our main roles over on our very super secret spreadsheet.
And I return. We see ChampOfHorde on the Sonya. No Rexar so far, but I want to see it throughout the course of this series at some point.
We may yet see it. I mean, the Sonya up and available had to be done unless the Medivh was their plan. But Medivh did get scooped up by Red, and we see the Malfurion counter since Mei was taken away over here by Blue.
Love to drop those roots right on top of the portals. Really make enemies think twice about coming in. And AOERules, always a big fan of that. Vala on him. That's going to get taken out as well. The enemy team is aware. They've done a little bit of research on who they're up against. Let's see what they pick now.
Cassia removed. Cassia and Mei have a pretty strong connection. A lot of consistent blinds coming on out from the Mei. Leoric Greymane. Interesting pairing coming on through from Red. I mean, having a Leoric teleport onto the back line with a Medivh portal can be pretty scary, as Leoric's main drawback is that lack of chase. And Greymane being able to go in, get a protected shield, and then have a way out means that Bloodknight's going to be able to play a lot more aggressively than normal.
Gotta admit, I find the Cassia pick the Cassia ban a little confusing, knowing that Cassia is rather weak into heavy CC, but the presence of the Medivh does seem to indicate that they don't think they'll be able to kill a Cassia. However, Genji being picked up
The
even in...
Shinobi Valera.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like C2D2 is gonna have a Genji in his lane at all times. Especially post 10, he can go from basically regular laning, just, you know, happily farming minions away, to, oh my god, there's a Sonya and a Genji on me. Out of nowhere. So I want to see how this goes right here. With the healing of Whitemane, with the anti-burst of Medivh, it's going to be really hard to force kills to suddenly happen as members of this blue team, and it feels like they want to play for short fights between having a Sonya, Anub'arak, and Genji. I feel like they want to play for short fights here, but that may be difficult into the healing and anti-burst setup of this red team.
It will be a tough one for sure. Blue's going to have to look for their windows on these engages. Looks like SQUIRREL is sticking with the Malfurion, and Ascension going to be on the Anub'arak, at least for this first game. We'll see if they stick with that through the rest of the series, or if there's going to be a little bit of a swapperoo going on. But that is the setup for the meantime with our two main tank roles.
And also, one thing that always sticks out on my mind, I am a firm believer in ease of execution being a massive metric to determine who's going to win or lose. And anytime you have a Medivh, it's a bit of a question mark for me, because it's like, hey, I know that these guys, you know, maybe they haven't practiced as much as you would want a Medivh team to practice. Anytime I see a Medivh picked up, I gotta think to myself, well, okay, this guy's gotta be good at Medivh, and the team has to be good with Medivh and with this Medivh. It's a lot that has to go right. Outside of the coordinated environment, I'm a little skeptical, because in coordinated, Medivh is nuts. He wins like crazy. But when the team is not all exactly on the same page, it can get a little questionable. Regardless, we have Reb playing that Medivh I just talked about, Bloodknight on Greymane, Finalstand's gonna be the Mei, C2D2 on Leoric, and Vivanchey on Whitemane.
On the left in the blue, VaLCarriedU on the Genji, AOERules playing Sylvanas, SQUIRREL on the Malfurion, ChampOfHorde on Sonya, and Ascension playing Anub'arak.
I'm surprised to see no cheese. We don't have Genji attempting to snipe any healing fountains, no pressure from Sylvanas. What I almost expected to see was the Sylvanas side pressuring one extreme end of the map, and Genji cheesing the healing fountain on the other side. Regardless, I'm loving what I'm seeing right here between Medivh using the portal so as to help his team rotate quicker between lanes and also help facilitate position for his teammates to interfere with rotations. That is one of the critical components that you can really have in a team comp, is slowing down the enemy team's ability to rotate between lanes. As we see, Finalstand consistently has this on their mind, and I think that is the hallmark of someone who really understands at least part of what a tank is supposed to do. A lot of times if you have a Lucio, they'll be the one interrupting, but many times it is the function of the tank to make it hell for the enemy team to rotate between the lanes, and that's exactly what we're seeing right here a little bit at the moment. Both teams fairly even, but Red with just ever so slightly a lane advantage, and that can accumulate into something bigger if they continue the pressure.
Having those sort of gaps, having those sort of moments where you have a talent tier advantage and you're able to jump on it, even if it's just a couple of seconds, can mean all the difference, especially with the timing of the objectives and whatnot here on Infernal Shrines. And like you said, Finalstand's been doing a great job of just allowing the rest of his team to rotate it through and interrupt the rotations from the blue squad. VaLCarriedU going right onto the back line. Bloodknight able to be healed up by Whitemane for now. Vivanchey able to move back, and Red's going to be just fine.
C2D2 actually getting in a bit of a scuffle with ChampOfHorde. Creepy hand does not connect. Draining Hope is not going to occur. However, Sonya finds herself deep in the middle of multiple members of the red team. Ascension, though, just landing the stun on everybody. ChampOfHorde's still going to go down regardless. Trying to peel, but it's just not going to be enough. Bloodknight actually getting significantly pressured by AOERules. Multiple members of red side are rather low. Just because they got the kill does not mean they can rest on their laurels. Probably time to back off and start thinking about taking that bruiser camp going into this next objective here.
Blue side is doing a really good job with consistent pressure coming on out from Genji, coming on out from Sylvanas. So even though the engages have been, they haven't been going all out, we saw Ascension using those abilities mostly for peel here in the early going. It's really difficult to disconnect a Sylvanas or a Genji from that front line, and we've seen that so far this game.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Genji is going to want to dive those backlines, but as long as Reb is on top of things, consistently landing those shields, this will be rather difficult. Raven Familiar also provides a lot of extra damage onto Genji if they can use it, and C2D2 says, oh hey, you got all these low for me? Why thank you! Whomp! And just knocks out 7 of the cats. That was rather comical to see. Both teams contesting it. That's going to be an engage onto Greymane. Actually, immediately gets protected by the Medivh. Protected, by the way, but Bloodknight, man, I don't know, maybe getting a little cocky, decides to portal out of it at the same time. SQUIRREL staying right on top of that portal. Portal's timing out. Multiple members of Red a little bit low, but the same can be said for Blue. Both teams trading damage very even on the Shrine at the moment. C2D2, you're taking so much damage, bud, but so is SQUIRREL. Caught in the middle of that blizzard, but Ascension with a well-timed dive to prevent any possibility of following up on the CC. Bloodknight's trying to get out of there. Well-timed portal from Reb is going to be able to enable a tap, but they're still going back in with the front line without a backline.
Uh-oh, C2D2 finally getting taken out there. Bloodknight has been doing a great job of playing off of Reb's cooldowns, knowing exactly how far that they can go. Reb trying to get away now, will do so. But Blue, with enough last hits, are going to start escorting this Punisher down the bottom lane. And with Sylvanas Black Arrows, Finalstand, got to be careful. VaLCarriedU diving on in off of the Punisher stun. But Sylvanas really amplifies these pushes. We'll see how much damage they can do. It looks like they're going to get about the wall here. But overall, that's about all you can expect with the first objective.
Some critical miscommunication from the red side right there. Frontline continuing to dive despite backline going for the healing fountain, costing them what may have been a successful Punisher at the very start of here. Now slight advantage in the experience category for Blue side, but Medivh inching ever so close to finishing the Master's Touch. Only 9 more stacks required, and that's going to represent a significant damage increase for Reb into these late game teamfights.
Absolutely. We see Reb just being that mobile ward, keeping an eye on things so that the rest of Red Team could grab that bottom camp, no problem at all. Ascension looking for a possible flank here, but Finalstand is going to hold the line. Looks like right now Leoric and Sonya just trading back and forth, finding the opportunity to possibly get some double soak. ChampOfHorde, though, sees 2 in the mid and realizes maybe this isn't the right place to be.
Blue team now taking their time to clear out the enemy siege camp at the moment, maintaining a slight EXP lead as we see a top lane. Not too much going on up there, but red side able to take their own siege camp whenever they find the time for it. That's the beauty of going for the neutral siege camp as the enemy team takes their own, is if you can get away with it, you always have another camp waiting whenever you get the opportunity. Now both teams taking a moment to attack each other, or rather attack the waves in the mid lane. And now Red Team knows that very, very soon heroic abilities are on the horizon for the blue side. Definitely can't take their siege camp now, except actually the possibility of an invade increasing by the second. Blue team knows there is no chance of a contest. They're actually pinging the healing fountain over the wall. I really want to see some smart plays over this Reb taking the opportunity to Master's Touch, but if blue team plays this right, we're going to see shurikens over the wall, giving the siege camp vision of the enemy. Healing camp, oh, they didn't maintain the vision though. You have to continue launching projectiles over the wall, and if you damage the healing fountain with a ranged skill shot, you can continue to give the enemy team's siege camp vision over it enough to actually take out the healing fountain. They just needed to space out those projectiles a little bit more. A bit of a mechanical failure on the part of the blue team.
Almost had it there. It looked like that those Khazra were all attacking simultaneously, couldn't maintain their own vision there. But yeah, I mean, just with the state of the shields on that well, not getting it down, it's basically you didn't do any damage at all. So unfortunate there, to be sure. We're looking at a frozen Punisher here in the mid lane. Oh, you have possible Medivh invade. Red is starting to come across the map here. Red, keep an eye on things. ChampOfHorde in trouble. Has to use the leap to escape. Ascension in the back line, trying to get the sleep and the stun onto Leoric. Nice ice wall. Gonna get Reb out of trouble. Look at the Genji. VaLCarriedU was swiping on the back line, but gets caught by Mei. So many time stops as Sonya ultimately going to go down. There goes Sylvanas. And quite a bloody invade there, Mockery.
Oh, absolutely. But you gotta think about the tools that you're up against, and you have to realize that, hey, maybe we shouldn't take an area corridor fight into a team that has the Medivh, that has the Whitemane, that has Leoric, that has Mei. Multiple heroes on the side of Red Team really just revel in the opportunity to take fights in these confined spaces where their abilities can get maximum value. I'm talking about chain Medivh resets, I'm talking about massive blizzards that cover the entire hallway, Leoric swiping through everybody, and tombs that cover everything. Blue team does not have nearly the same level of comfort within such an area, so leading to such a situation, intentionally creating, god dang it, intentionally creating such a situation where the enemy team can fight in corridors is typically not going to turn out well when you have such a disadvantage.
Red team going to go ahead and pick up this Frozen Punisher and keep up the push in the mid lane here. We'll see whether blue, we're going to get the bait over the wall. Nice unstoppable there by Ascension to drag this Punisher way into the back. While red has to cleave down this fort. But with the Frozen, that means that the fort will be turned off in a couple seconds here. We'll see whether red is going to jump on this. Punisher jumps out once again. Finalstand finds the hit onto ChampOfHorde. Leap into the backline from Sonya is going to get mostly denied here as Whitemane keeping everyone very, very healthy over on the side of red, but Vivanchey in trouble, has to use the portal. 2 more kills for red as these long fights are absolutely going in their direction. 3 more kills. Oh, the Medivh ult not quite landing there. And we're going to see red go ahead and start to pick up a lot more of these camps and keep up the map pressure.
And this is part of why I find the Genji pick so puzzling, and I'm wondering if it comes down to a pool issue. Because in reality, they're not going to be able to get burst kills into this enemy team, and they won't be able to win long fights either. So really, when can blue team actually win the fight? If they don't win a short fight and they don't win a long fight, it effectively comes down to red team misplaying, which to be fair can happen very often when teams who aren't super experienced with their Medivh play for it. But I can't help but feel like there's a bit of a disconnect in the ideology of the blue team, investing so hard into burst with the Leap Sonya, the Anub'arak, the Genji, while simultaneously playing into a double support comp that has the tools necessary to force blue team out of their comfort zone, while simultaneously having so many restrictions on where they can take their fights. It is a tall task for blue team to try and win these fights, and it is evident in the kill counts, down 1 to 7. It's not impossible, but I think this was a victory in draft for the red team.
Certainly looking that way. It looks like we're going to have ourselves an invade, a 5v3, but Medivh and Leoric on the way here. There's the jump into the backline. Silence Arrow coming out as well, as Whitemane is in the cocoon. Ice Wall going to land onto 2, though. Sonya going down once again. SQUIRREL able to get that silencing ult off, but Genji still going to fall. AOERules chased down by C2D2, and now we've got the chase is on. SQUIRREL being followed out. Ascension trying to move past as well. Will red actually dive this fort with double support?
Oh, finish him! Finish him! What are you doing, Bloodknight? Go!
Gonna move up.
No. He was setting up the stagger. He was setting up longer stagger.
Yeah,
and false hope. It's stagger and it's tilt factor in the enemy team. Bloodknight is actually in 3021 over here.
I think we might have seen a little bit of an infield fly where third and shortstop kind of look at each other. And
Dog, the only sport I know is basketball. You're going to have to rephrase these metaphors. I have no idea what you just said means. You might as well have been speaking Martian, my guy. All right, nobody watches baseball.
It's like in the All-Star game when there's an alley-oop thrown up and 2 players go up at the same time.
Oh, see, that is much.
Give up the dunk because they don't know who it was meant for.
Oh, that's
but
so
ultimately, they both grab the ball and dunk it.
Yeah, I've actually seen that. That was one of the hypest basketball replays I've ever seen. Is I saw an alley-oop where both players grabbed the ball from both sides and simultaneously dunked it. And I always wondered, who gets the points?
You gotta, I mean, from a stats perspective, they're absolutely just flipping a coin. However, I would like to see them both get 1 point.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. If you both have a hand on the ball, and oh, wait, hold on a second, there's actually HOTS happening. All right, so Vivanchey is getting caught over here. I have no idea why Whitemane was by herself. However, this catch basically guarantees an objective in favor of the red team at the moment. I want to see, are they planning on 39ing it? Or are they going to capture it right away?
Oh, you got to be careful with Leoric when you're trying to get a last hit on
those cleaves, man. I remember I was playing with my friend's baby on board, and I'm pretty sure we called to 39 it and then just accidentally cleared anyway. So that definitely can happen. Red team, they know that they do not want to push into this fort until they have all 5 members. Even if it means sacrificing that level 16 advantage, they would rather do it with everyone available. However, as I say that, making some aggressive plays despite not having all members on deck, Medivh can always go for a cheeky cap of this with a Leyline Seal. Looks like it's not going to happen. And now Whitemane being given enough time to come back. And I gotta say, Red team is under 0 obligation to finish this objective.
They just don't really have a reason to. There's a camp pushing in the top lane. Might as well get that cleared out. The bottom camp is now being picked up by Bloodknight. There's, you know, they'd have to delay it a whole minute to get the middle Khazra. That might be a little bit excessive.
No, that's not excessive at all, Crush.
Maybe
because think about it this way.
For another minute.
The longer that Red team extends this, the closer they get to just being able to cap it with 20. The burden is entirely on Blue to make something happen. But the second that Blue seriously starts to look like they can actually contest it, Red just finishes one. So Blue really is in a no-win position here. If they start to pressure, then it just gets capped. And there we see right there, Bloodknight actually electing to finish it. I personally think that they should have just kept holding it until 20. I think that there really wasn't any reason to finish it right there. And this is actually giving Blue Team one of the few possible chances to come back that they could, a fight on equal talent tiers. I do think that Red has a massive advantage in the team fights, and this is probably almost definitely going to go well for them, but I do believe that there was no real reason to not wait for 20 on this. However, they will continue to push. Punisher getting absolutely shredded by Blue side's defense so far. Ice Wall coming out onto Genji. Not going to lead to a kill just yet. Still equal talent tiers. Red side looking in, and they might not even get the keep at this rate. Oh, champ.
HeroesHearth gets pushed back. Uh-oh, the stun is out, and that's going to be it for Sonya. But Ascension all over the backline here. VaLCarriedU swippity swiping all over Whitemane, but look at that healing coming on through from Vivanchey. That's Malfurion, that's Sylvanas. Bloodknight trying to get Ascension. Oh no, the shields from Anub'arak. Wait a minute, Bloodknight definitely went into the negative health there and gets brought back from the dead. That's 4 kills, and it looks like Red is going to move on to the core.
What do you mean looks like? The timers are like 30 seconds, and there's 4 of them dead.
You know,
maybe.
There's still
you're right.
camps left on the
You're
map.
right, GG, these guys
You
are
know
trolling.
the rules. And that's going to be Red team coming on in and picking up the victory. Very nicely done.
Yep, that is a strong finish in Game 1 right here. Very notably, AOERules not getting to play his Vala, VaLCarriedU not getting to play his Valeera. Hero pools potentially presenting some issues right here, even an off roll from SQUIRREL, normally a main tank player, actually being forced to play healer here. I want to see if they knew this was coming. Yeah, I'm seeing a whole lot of healer. Looks like these, yeah, over the past week or so, I'm seeing a lot of healer from SQUIRREL. Definitely knew that this was coming, been preparing for it, but regardless, a bit of a rough situation in draft. Strong punishes Game 1, 15 kill lead. Wow. Red team 17 kills to 2. Well done.
Very strong Medivh showing. We had some worries at the beginning there, but not only just Reb's play on the Medivh. We saw Greymane going in and knowing exactly how far that they could go. Trust in the Whitemane player to keep everyone healthy when the full engage came on through from the blue team. It felt like that team had been playing together for a while, and these are, this is free agent. These are groups that have been put together. They've had a little bit of practice time, but that felt like a multi-season team playing there.
Absolutely, and I mean, just well done in the team fights. Like I said, I'm always skeptical. I'm like, ooh, can they pull off the Medivh? But they absolutely could. Ley lines and ice wall, it's so awkward to try and make a fight happen successfully in a short amount of time if they're just taking characters off the map. If you consistently go in and then all of a sudden, oh, half our team is in time stop, what do you do? It's very hard to pull it off. It's so slow. Nothing is happening. It's like you're at an MLB game.
Oh.
Nah, no hate to baseball. I just had to get it in.
Afro Stretch is going to be very upset with that.
Oh yeah, no, I think.
A minute.
Yeah, oh, they're going to be so mad when they hear that in the future.
Oh,
so we're setting up for Game 2.